Hi, good morning, everyone. So by attending this workshop, any new applications that are submitted to our office for new business tax receipt will receive a 50% discount on the application fee. So just mention that you attended this workshop. You know, one of the beauties of entrepreneurship is that it provides a wealth of information, jobs, opportunity for change in your family, community, or country. You know, entrepreneurs and small business owners create social and economic value to the employment industry far beyond their organizations, specifically affecting the U.S. economy, playing a key role as suppliers, customers, and service providers for other businesses. This is to let you know that you're not alone. Your dreams of entrepreneurship and small business ownership are valid and can all be your desire to be them. However, there is a path to that success. You must be aware of what you're doing in your business as well as how you're doing it. Deciding what small business structure will be most advantageous to your business is one of the most crucial decisions you have to make. And this decision must be made early in the business formation process. So I'll be discussing some of the topics to help. Again, my name is Yvonne White-Grayson. I'm the business tax supervisor here at the City of Port St. Lucie, and I've been with the city for over 20 years. With me today are two local attorneys from Alphabon Law. We have Sarah Davis, who is the founding member and president of the Association for Women's Lawyers, St. Lucie County chapter. We also have Nico Alphabon, who is also a member of the Florida Bar. I'm sorry, I'm just having a little bit of a technical issue there. Sorry about that. We also have Nico Alphabon, who's a board member of the St. Lucie County Economic Development Council, chair of the executive board for the 19th Circuit Professional Panel, recognized as a Florida super lawyer since 2016. So thank you for your attendance and congratulations on your decision to start or expand your business. I do have a few Zoom housekeeping rules before we begin. So therefore, please mute your device, turn on your video. Feel free to raise your hand for comments or questions. To do so, click on the participant icon at the bottom of your screen or use the chat feature for questions. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you. Feel free to stop me at any time during the presentation for questions that you may have. So there's some things to consider when starting or expanding your business. The reality of being your own boss, you know, is that a hobby versus a business, profit or loss versus salary or income. There's also business planning. So bad planning accounts for 70% of failures. You know, what should it contain? Why is it important to have? You know, what about your legal structure? You know, what's the right legal structure for your business? Is it sole proprietorship, limited partnership? Also good is, you know, market research, you know, customers, competition, the need, you know, why should customers buy from you? Also marketing and advertising, you know, organizations need to create a successful mix, social media, word of mouth through promotions, also branding. Consider branding your business. You know, what's the customer's perception? And SWOT. SWOT analysis stands for, you know, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. You know, what are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? You know, what opportunities are out there? What threats does your organization face? So undertake a SWOT analysis of your organization.
Yeah, always good advice. Yvonne, we have a question, if that's quite all right. Rosemary, you have your hand up if you'd like to talk.
Hey, Philip, I'm actually moving everybody as a panelist so they can actually unmute themselves and turn on the video. So I just moved,
Great.
yeah,
Thanks, Savi.
yeah, no problem.
Yeah, if you'll remember, this is an open discussion. So if you'd like to speak up or put it into the chat, we'll be watching that so that you can get your questions answered. Thanks, Yvonne. I guess Rosemary can, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so continue on. So those were the things to consider. So now let's talk about government regulations. So there are some regulations that the government does have that to consider when you are starting or expanding your business. Some are labor laws, immigration laws, IRS and Social Security, withholdings and payments, and Department of Revenue. So Department of Revenue deals with sales tax, retail tax certificate. So these are some general things to consider when you're starting your business. Also insurance considerations. What about your business property, liability, motor vehicles? What about workers' compensation, health insurance, not only for yourself, but your employees? And what if there's business interruptions, such as the pandemic? These are things to consider when you're starting your business. There's also your startup cash. So startup cash is essential equipment that is needed for your business, such as tools, leasehold improvements, licensing and permits, professional fees, initial inventory, working capital reserve funds. So these are all items that you would need to consider, and this can be implemented in sort of like your business plan when you're thinking about starting or expanding your business. Operating cash flow. You have to think about salary, rent, insurance, taxes and fees, advertising, loan interest, utilities, and maintenance. So these are all items to consider prior to starting or engaging in your business. Here at the City of Port St. Lucie, if you're going to be operating here in the City of Port St. Lucie, and you're operating from a commercial or interested in starting your business in a commercial business, we always ask that you, prior to signing a lease or purchasing a commercial space, always check with planning and zoning first. This process will ensure that your business is meeting the city's zoning requirements, and our office can assist you with that process. So give our office a call, or you can call the Planning and Zoning Department directly, and they can tell you what the process would be to check that business location that you're looking at starting or expanding your business to.
Excellent. And Yvonne, we have a question. Will there be a recording of this that participants will be able to receive?
Yes, at the end of the workshop today will be my contact information. Feel free to send me an email, and I would be happy to ensure that you receive a copy of this workshop recording, as well as any material that was discussed, such as the PowerPoint. Great question.
That's great. Yeah, thanks. And there's another as well. So thanks for your question, Courtney. Talia says, I have a cleaning business. Will we be going over exactly what taxes I should be assessing to put aside for tax time next year? So if you'd like to address that now, or if we could.
So business tax is not uniformed. So there are different requirements that are required for different businesses. So what I'd like to do is actually speak with you on a one-on-one level. So again, my information is going to be available at the end of the PowerPoint presentation. Feel free to email me or call me, and I'd be happy to go over with the requirements for establishing your business. So great question. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you.
So in the City of Port St. Lucie, in addition to operating from a commercial location, you can also operate from your home. So under our city code 158.217, a home occupation is permitted within an area zoned residential. There are certain restrictions for operating. We ask that you check with our office prior to engaging in business, just to ensure that the use is permittable. Some of the criteria are you cannot utilize more than 200 square feet of your residence. You cannot change the character of your dwelling to conform for business purposes. And there can't be any outside appearance. There cannot be any noise, fumes, dust, or signage that there's a business being operated from the home. So there are some advantages and disadvantages, of course, for operating a home-based business. So one of the advantages are its convenient work location. It's less expensive. You can have flexible schedule, and there are some tax advantages to operating from your home. There are also some disadvantages. If you're in a PUD or a zoning or deed restricted property location, you're isolated from others, and there could be difficulty in financing, family distractions, and IRS scrutiny. There are some regulations associated with operating from a commercial location, and I've outlined some of them here. There could be utility requirements if there's events that you want to have on the outside of the business. I just realized that, my apologies, that my screen was not
No worries.
with me. All right, so these are some of the commercially located regulations. And these commercial regulations, again, there could be utility requirements. Vehicles in the parking lot cannot be inoperable or untagged. You cannot work outside of an existing bay. There cannot be a business operating outside of a business in the city of Port St. Lucie. So the business tax receipt was previously known as an occupational license or business license. The legislation changed the name a couple years ago to remove that misconception that a license is being issued. It's just a tax receipt, a tax that is imposed by the local municipality in order to engage in business in the city of Port St. Lucie. So a tax receipt is required from our office if your business is located physically within the city of Port St. Lucie and also with St. Lucie County. If your business is located solely within St. Lucie County, a city of Port St. Lucie business tax receipt is not required. But we always ask that, you can check with our office if you have any questions as to where your business may be located. And I think I saw there was a question, Phil.
Yes, sorry. Would you like to unmute yourself and speak up? There's also a question in the chat while we're waiting for sorry. It reads, I'm trying to open a family home daycare. I am only going to care for 6 to 8 children. Do I have to submit an application for zoning?
Yes, you do. It will not go through our planning and zoning department because it isn't a residential location. However, our building department will come out and conduct an inspection of the home just to ensure that there's no life safety issues prior to going through the business tax process. And you can contact me to get more information on that. Okay.
That's great. And she says, thank you, Shirley. Thanks for your question. Some questions about liability insurance from Rosemary. So if you'd like to expound upon that and tell us a little bit more, we'd be happy to answer that question. And then Sorry asks, what if it's an online business? So yeah, if you can put as much information as you'd like, we'd be happy to answer the question. And then of course, Yvonne is always going to be available when we see her email address to answer all of your questions. Oh, great. So really quickly, Yvonne, thanks. Sorry asks, I just wanted to know if it's an online business. Do I need a city and county tax receipt?
If your home-based business is located within the city of Port St. Lucie and you are conducting business, you are required to have a business tax receipt. Online businesses do require a business tax receipt from our office, yes.
Brilliant, thanks.
Yes. So I've provided a slide on a checklist of just kind of some of the basic information that we ask for when you're submitting for a business tax here in our office. So we ask, if you're using a business name that is not your first and last legal name, you are required to register a name registration on sunbiz.org. We do have a completed application that you're required to submit, and it has to be completed in its entirety, and to attach any of supporting documentation, whether that be if there's an applicable state professional license that's required for you to engage in your business type, your driver's license, and we do accept all forms of payment within our office. So the cost of the business tax varies. It depends on the type of the business or occupation. There are some exemptions that the Florida statute has allowed us to use. If you are over 65 with no more than $1,000 of capital in your business, if you're a veteran, a spouse of a veteran, or a low-income person, you may qualify for an exemption. And if you have any questions regarding exemptions and if your possibility of your business could be eligible, you can always reach out to our office and we'd be happy to go over that with you. So it looks like I have another question.
Well, Rosemary had asked about the liability insurance when we discussed that on the previous slide. So
Okay.
if you wanted to maybe talk about that again, it doesn't look like there's a specific question, but just about the considerations of liability insurance.
So liability insurance is handled through insurance companies. Depending on the nature of your business, your vendor, that's anybody that you're working for providing service, may require that your business hold insurance. I would just recommend that you speak with the insurance company. I always recommend that you start with an insurance company that you have maybe your property or your vehicle located, insured with, to see if they offer business insurance. And sometimes they offer multiple discount for policies. So I would always ask that you check with your insurance company first to see if you would be required to obtain liability insurance. It's not a requirement for me to issue you a business tax receipt unless you are performing a transport certification, transport profession with like taxi, any type of transportation. Other than that, it is not a requirement to obtain a business tax receipt.
Thank you.
So there are some business tax regulations. All business tax receipts expire September 30th of each year. So our business tax term is from October 1st to September 30th. If you apply, if you're starting your new business, such as right now we're after April 1st, if you apply today, you would be eligible for a prorated business tax receipt. We do send out renewal notices beginning July the 1st, and it is, you have the option to renew by online, coming into the office, or by mail prior to September 30th. And of course, if the business tax receipt is received late within our office, there is a penalty for late payment. And if the business is regulated by a state agency, we do require a copy of the professional license be submitted with the business tax renewal payment. So the business tax will be conducting virtual workshops until the end of the year. These workshops is outlined here as well on our PowerPoint presentation, as well as on the city's webpage under our calendar. In addition to the workshops that we have, we also have what we call the home-based business workshop. So if you register today and I have your email, you will be receiving this notice in your email, which allows you as a home-based business to participate in this event. This event is going to be held at the Mid-Florida Credit Union Center. This is an opportunity for you to advertise, network, market your goods and wear. This is one of the ways that the city likes to help our small businesses here in the city of Port St. Lucie. All of our information, again, is available on our website. regarding any upcoming events, such as this home-based business workshop. Any questions regarding any of the upcoming workshops? They're all free. The next one will be on August the 7th. This will be with the State of Florida Department of Management. This is if you want to know how to do business with the state. They do contracting with the state. Minority and veterans are encouraged to attend. So this concludes my presentation that I have. I've provided my contact information as well as my staff. If you have any specific questions or general questions, feel free to either give me a call or you can email me. I'd also be happy to meet with you one-on-one here in my office if you'd like to sit down and I could explain to you the process of operating your business, what resources are available for you for your business. And before I turn it over to Applebaum Law, is there any questions for the business tax portion? All right, so now joining you is Applebaum Law.
Oh, sorry. Thanks.
Yes.
Yvonne, just really quickly,
Yes.
question was asked, do I need a city and county tax receipt for the home daycare?
Yes, if the home daycare is located within the city limits of Port St. Lucie, you are required to hold the business tax receipt from our office as well as St. Lucie County Tax Collector's Office.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. We have Mr. Nicholas Applebaum and Sarah Davis joining us from Applebaum Law, and I'm going to turn the presentation now over to them.
All right, good morning, everyone. Thank you, Yvonne. Thank you very much. Let me see if I can share my screen.
And I guess when Nico's the screen sharing setup, I'll just get started and just kind of give everyone an overview of what
Great.
we're here to present on today. We're here to just basically provide some information about how a business lawyer can assist you in getting everything set up for a new business or operating an already existing business. So we do want to let you know up front that we're going to be providing general information today. We're not going to be providing any kind of specific legal advice. And the reason for that being that there's not an attorney-client relationship between, any of us here attending today and us as attorneys. So we're here to just give everyone a general overview and some basic information that assist you in working with a business attorney. So some of the things that a business attorney is well equipped to assist you with respect to your business. We kind of think of ourselves as an ally to your business, and that's going to be there to help you every step of the way throughout that process. And one of the ways in which we can do that is if you have a brand new business, a business attorney can assist you in selecting a business structure, which we will get a little bit more in depth about shortly. So we can also provide assistance for registering and paying city and county business taxes, as Yvonne touched on previously, and also obtaining necessary licenses in order to operate your business. A business attorney can also protect you and your business from liability, and that's extremely important because if the proper steps aren't taken to organize your entity and your business and have that level of separation, you may end up in a situation where you and your family have some type of personal liability for something that you've done with respect to your business. So that's something that a business attorney can help you avoid, and that's important. Business attorneys are also able to draft various agreements, and we're going to get more in depth into that as well and discuss the types of agreements that business attorneys can help you draft or review if it's provided to you by another party, and the importance of that. And also just in a general to make sure that your intellectual property, the things that you've worked hard on for your business are protected. And also just there's a lot of agreements that can be drafted to really protect your business, from either unfair competition or things of that nature. Another thing that business attorneys can provide is just ongoing assistance with respect to just day-to-day operations. So there's plenty of people who have questions for attorneys about anything that's going on with respect to the operation of their business, interaction with customers or clients, things along those lines. And that's something that a business attorney can also assist you with. Of course, litigation representation is also something that an attorney can provide assistance with. And, if for some reason you find yourself, unfortunately, on the receiving end of a lawsuit, or if you need to initiate a lawsuit, they are able to do that as well. And finally, exit strategy. I think most people go into a business with the idea that they're going to have this, potentially for a very long time or even their lifetime. But sometimes circumstances arise within a business where, you do need to leave that business for one reason or another. Either you're selling that business or you just want to remove yourself as a partner or something along those lines. And a business attorney can assist you with that as well. So in addition to an attorney assisting you with your business, some other professionals that we strongly recommend to our clients that they engage with at the earliest opportunity are an accountant, a CPA. That's very, very important just to make sure that you are in compliance with tax regulations, that you're keeping your books properly. These are extremely important things to do from the very inception of your business moving forward. An insurance agent is also a professional you want to engage with early and often, just to make sure that you have the proper coverage so that in the event that you do find yourself, with some type of lawsuit or a situation where your business is exposed to liability, if you have insurance to cover some of those circumstances, that's very beneficial. Or if someone were to be injured on your property, there's a host of reasons why you should have an insurance agent to make sure that your business is properly insured. Finally, we definitely recommend that we have our clients engage with a business banker. There's a lot of professionals in this area and elsewhere throughout Florida that can assist you in making sure that you do keep your accounts in order and make sure that you have a level of separation between, say, a personal account and a business account, and that you have everything running smoothly, again, with the assistance of your accountant. So those are some professionals that we strongly recommend to all business owners that they also engage as allies. So finally, just a general piece of advice that we like to provide people with is make sure that you're proactive in picking your team, like I just discussed, and making sure that you have professional assistance as soon as possible rather than later. And the reason for this is it's going to save you a tremendous amount of time and money in order to make sure that your business is running smoothly. And the reason I say that is a lot of times if someone cuts corners up front, doesn't engage with a CPA, doesn't have a bank account properly set up, doesn't have particular organizational things set up for their business, they don't have the proper tax set up, that can lead to much more serious problems and much more expensive problems down the road. Taxes aren't being paid properly, or there's a dispute between owners that leads to litigation that could have been resolved if there was a proper agreement in place. So really, it's one of those things where you spend a little bit of money up front and you protect yourself versus having to wait down the road and having a problem arise, because unfortunately, I can pretty much guarantee you that if that happens, it's going to be far more expensive to fix something on the back end than it is to prevent it on the front end. So that's some general advice. And then next, we want to discuss some types of business structures that are available to you in the state of Florida for organizing your entity. So I will turn that portion over to Nico.
All right, thank you, Sarah. We'll touch a little bit quickly on the different business structures, but basically when you're creating your own, when you're starting your business, you have many options on how to run your business, whether you run it without creating an entity or whether you create an entity. Our general guidance to any of our clients, to everybody we speak with, is go ahead and create a business entity. Keep the business separate from you to protect yourself from liability, and you're protecting the business as well from liability. So that's the incorporating your business. As I mentioned, the goals are avoiding liability, shielding your business from liability, and also allows you to create a better understanding of the rights, duties, responsibilities, and obligations of everyone involved, especially if you're having a partner or other business owners with you. You want to have a delineation of who does what, who owns what, and having a business entity allows you to have those clear lines for the most part. Types of entities, generally sole proprietorship, partnership, corporation, and LLC. And I'll go briefly through them. A sole proprietorship is basically when you do not have the entity incorporated with the Department of State. You're just running the business by yourself. You created a fictitious name that's the doing business as the fictitious name, and that does not provide any protections to yourself. You're basically running a business in your own name, and any liability that the business may have is it's your liability. It's directly to you, personal liability. We have partnerships. Partnerships is when you have two or more owners. Obviously, it provides limitations on the personal liability that each partner has. There are different kinds of partners when we discuss partnerships, general partners and limited partners, and that determines, in general terms, that's whether someone is a manager or not a manager, how much involvement a partner will have in the company, and the exposure to liability of the partner also differs based on type of partner the individual is. Corporations, that's one of the most known entities. You know, that's your Coca-Cola, that's your Microsoft. You know, those are the generally bigger entities where you have one or more business owners. It provides good limitation on liability, so good separation between yourself and the company, and it can provide a good degree of, I'm going to have issues saying this one, but anonymity. So if you're trying to not show that you're an owner, a corporation may provide you a level of discretion, I guess, in the ownership structure of the company. Disadvantages is that corporations are heavily regulated by Florida law. They're less flexible and have large requirements that need to be followed. Costly to follow, generally costly to follow and maintain. And there's some tax disadvantages in comparison with partnerships and the next entity that we're going to be talking, which is limited liability companies, LLCs. LLCs are generally what we recommend clients to create when starting a business. You can have one owner, many owners, and the beauty about LLCs is that it takes the advantages of partnerships and the advantages of corporations. So it provides, it can provide anonymity, it can provide protection of liability, they are flexible, and the tax treatment is flexible as well. And generally working with your CPA, your accountant, we will determine which way the LLC ought to be taxed. And what I mentioned before, the fictitious name, if you just have a fictitious name without having an entity, then you are not protected. That just means, like I mentioned before, you're just running your company in your own name. However, you can have a fictitious name with an entity. And that allows you to basically have a name that is different than your LLC or your corporation, or not use not have to use at the end of the name the LLC, the corp, the Inc. Just to give you a personal example here, you know, our formal name for our entity, it's Apfelbaum Law LLC, because we don't want to be using the LLC at the end of the name. We have the fictitious name Apfelbaum Law. So that allows us to run an entity that is separate from ourselves with a name, the different name. You need to register it. It's easy. It's not costly, and I believe you have to renew it every 5 years or so. And it's easy to do to avoid future headaches. I'm gonna give it to Sarah now. Back to Sarah. We wanted to touch base on a few agreements that I think can be useful to have in in any entity as you get started and as you move forward, adding employees, adding people to your company?
Thank you. So the, as Nico mentioned, these are different types of agreements that, we're not saying that these are necessarily one size fits all and that every business needs all of these agreements or which particular agreements, but these are just some examples of types of agreements that are definitely valuable to certain businesses and that a business attorney can assist with. As we have noted on the slide here, general advice is to absolutely have everything in writing. As attorneys, I can't tell you how frequently we see people come into our office and they need help with a problem and they had some type of verbal agreement with somebody else that they now have a falling out with and nothing was in writing. And that can create a whole lot of issues, when litigation comes up and you don't have anything in writing and it's just really one person's word against another's about what the agreement was. So that's just a general premise that we recommend that anytime you have something, that's a relatively serious matter, that you do have this in writing. So from here, I want to touch on just some examples of types of agreements that a business attorney can assist with. The first one that we have noted here are shareholder or partnership or operating agreements. So the basic premise here is these are types of agreements that exist between owners, managers of the company who are working together on this entity. So this isn't, between you and your customers or your clients. This is solely between the owners who are running the company, essentially. So there are, as noted on the slide, some provisions within the Florida statutes that do provide a foundation and some default provisions, for some of these types of entities that Nico discussed. But these are things that may be able to be changed through written agreements between the owners. So the general idea behind these are that they provide for terms and rights and obligations and expectations of the business owners. They really just lay the framework for how a business is going to be run and operated, how the business is controlled, how they make decisions, distribution of profits, and all hosts of these types of things. And also can note how much of an investment a particular person has made, the percentage of the company that they own, all these types of things are well set forth within these types of agreements between partners or shareholders. So that's pretty much that. We move to the next slide. So another major category of agreements that are valuable to businesses are confidentiality and non-disclosure agreements. Now, the type of confidentiality or non-disclosure agreement that you need is usually largely dependent on the type of business that you have and the type of information essentially that you're seeking to protect. So the general idea behind these agreements are that they protect valuable information that's important to the business and valuable to the business from improper use by an employee or a contractor and disclosure to a third party. So this can cover all kinds of information with respect to the business, whether it's customer lists, client contact information, inventions, intellectual property, systems of operation, all these types of things are potentially covered within these types of agreements. So who should sign those types of agreements? That's going to depend on, who basically is the recipient of this information. So say, for example, I have a business and I am providing to my employees a proprietary system of operations. Maybe I have a really different business model than everybody else, and I have this system that I've set up that has made me extremely successful. And that's something that no one else is aware of besides me and my employees. It's what we would call a trade secret. So if I want to make sure that that's well protected, I should, generally speaking, have all of my employees or independent contractors or other people who are working for me that have access to this, as we call it, proprietary information, sign these types of documents. So again, this is something very dependent on a particular type of business and their needs, and a business attorney can really just walk you through that and let you know, based upon what your business structure is, what information you're seeking to protect, who you're disclosing to, which particular type of agreement you should be working on. So the next one that we have here on the list is non-compete agreements. So that's something that we see quite frequently for our own clients. This is an agreement that basically is seeking to restrict or prohibit competition. And there's the very specific information here as well in order to impose this restriction. We do have guidelines here within the state of Florida through the statutes with respect to what is or is not permissible for a non-compete agreement in terms of time, how long the restriction is in place, and then also geographic restriction as well. So those are things that we do have within the statutes that do provide a framework within which the attorney needs to work. These are agreements that basically cover, like I had touched upon previously, trade secrets, confidential information, customer lists. Essentially, they can also, in certain industries, cover a situation where you have an employee who perhaps you've been training for many years in a very niche industry, going out and basically copying your business model and competing directly against you with the information that you've provided them over the years. So depending on the industry, that's something that can be useful as well. So the other types of agreements that we see quite frequently are just really anything that covers either employers or employees, or between businesses and their customers, or contractors that businesses are working with. So we see independent contractor agreements. Not everyone that works for you is necessarily going to be an employee. There's plenty of businesses that utilize quite heavily independent contractors. That's extremely common. And sometimes it's important to distinguish between an independent contractor and an employer-employee relationship. So either of those types of agreements are something a business attorney can assist you with. There's also, of course, agreements that companies may have with their distributors, or if they are a distributor, with their customers. Really any type of agreement that you would want to enter into with your customers, depending on the industry, is something that a business attorney could assist you with. There's also, of course, investors who may not actually want to be an owner of the company. They may not want to manage the company, but they may want to invest. That's another situation where I cannot stress enough how important it is to make sure that you have that agreement in writing, because all too often we do see people come in to see us and they tell us that they have provided a large sum of money as an investment in a business, and unfortunately, we don't have anything in writing. So that's something that's extremely important if you are going to invest in a business and not be an owner, or just participate in any way. That's definitely something you would want to have in writing. And then, of course, finally, leases or anything concerning real property. Those are definitely things you would want to have reviewed by an attorney, just to make sure that you do have provisions within the lease or within the purchase agreement that are favorable to you. So that's just kind of a broad overview of a lot of the different types of agreements that we do see with respect to businesses. But I think an important thing to keep in mind is that it's not a one size fits all situation. Not every business, as I mentioned, is in every one of these agreements, and it's not all agreements fit all businesses. So it's really a kind of collaboration between the attorney and the business to really discuss what the business's needs are in terms of their employees, their relationships with their customers, their relationships with other contractors, and just to really delve into those issues and decide what things need to be in writing and what provisions are best needed to really protect that business from liability, protect individuals and their investments, and of course protect those customer relationships as well. So I think that pretty much covers what we had on our agenda today in terms of our presentation. So I know we did want to leave just a little bit of time to also just touch on, if anyone had any just general questions about these issues, then we can kind of try to touch on those as well, as long as it's not specific legal advice.
I wanted to make a quick comment adding to Sarah on the agreements. Sorry, if anyone will take the question in a second. We do see often, the contracts or agreements that you can buy or pull from online resources, and they do provide general coverage sometimes, but like Sarah said, not every agreement fits everyone. Not every agreement covers all the bases. So we have been in many situations where we have seen agreements written by people without consulting an attorney, or being pulled from the internet or from a friend, that does not really touches on the important points that the person thinks are covered, and it gets costly when we had to litigate now rather than draft the agreement. It's definitely a more costly endeavor for the client to be in litigation on those agreements than to try to avoid litigation and get those agreements written by an attorney in the first place. Right. See if there is any questions. Oh.
So I do see one question here just about an email summary of the presentation. I see, just in case no one has noticed, that Yvonne did answer that question, that there will be an email going out to the attendees that has a summary of the presentation. I'm guessing likely a recorded content also from the presentation. So yes, that will be going out. The other question that I'm seeing here is essentially a tax question. It's, do we need to charge tax on service or product only? I'm a photographer. I do want to note, and I probably should have noticed this upfront, Nico and myself are not actually tax professionals or tax attorneys, and this is actually one of the reasons that we recommend that people engage with a CPA. So I truthfully, I don't want to delve into the tax issues there, just because, you know, that is a fact specific question, unfortunately, for that particular industry, and I don't really want to opine on that because, again, unfortunately, I'm not a tax professional. I rely on my own CPAs and tax professionals for those types of questions. So I'm just trying to look, see if I have anything else.
Oh, there's another question. There's another question, Sarah. It says, is there a cost to use the law firm? Is there a retainer or as needed? Each lawyer is different, and even within our law firm, we have different clients that decide to keep in retainer or as needed. So it all depends on the client's circumstances, the client's needs. So that's something that generally is discussed between the client or potential client and the attorney, and enter into an arrangement that works for the two parties.
So there is another question.
I see another,
Okay.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, Sarah.
Okay, so I see another question here. If I have to draft my own agreement, what are the 3 most important things that need to be there? So just in general, like Nico said, you know, certainly our general advice is, of course, to, you know, try to consult with an attorney if at all possible. But, you know, I understand that sometimes, you know, for some reason, either that's a cost prohibitive issue, or, you know, people just get into a situation where maybe they need something in writing immediately. I think that, you know, the main things that I would want to put in there would absolutely be to make sure that it is, of course, clear in its terms. You know, anything that you think is covered, remember that a court is not going to look at a document and read something into it that you may have verbally discussed or understood in your mind, but is not in writing. So whatever it is that you are agreeing to, make sure that you're very clear in setting forth all of that in the language of your agreement, and that it covers absolutely everything, that it's clear who is entering into this agreement. And the reason I say that is, you know, sometimes, of course, like, say, for example, I was to enter into an agreement on behalf of Alphabom Law. If I just signed that as an individual and I didn't sign that on behalf of the law firm, there could be a dispute as to whether or not I was binding the law firm. So, you know, make sure you're clear who it is that's entering into the agreement, whether it's a business, whether it's a person as an individual. Make sure that all the parties sign that agreement as well. And, you know, especially because we run into issues sometimes, as Nico said, where people are drafting their own agreements, where perhaps we have a contract that somebody wrote out on their own, maybe one party signed it and then the other didn't. So if that's the case and you're seeking to enforce it against the party who didn't sign, unfortunately, that's generally going to not be enforceable against the party who never signed it, because there's not really evidence to show that they truly agreed to this. So that's problematic. So I think that if you do have to self-draft, that's my general advice, is just to be very clear. Make sure you put absolutely everything in there that you need to in writing, and that everybody signs it, and that it's clear who's signing, you know, and who's really entering into that. So I don't think I see anything else at this time. Is there anything else, Yvonne? Oh, I see one in the Q&A. I think, does your office offer a flat rate for probate cases or fees based on the percentage of the estate? So I think just in general, if I see we've gotten a couple questions about fees. As Nico mentioned, every firm and attorney has a varying way of setting up their fees and their schedules and their engagements of clients. Certainly if anyone who's here today is interested in engaging our firm, I do encourage you to, reach out to us. I believe our contact information is probably somewhere within this presentation. You can reach out to our firm and we'd be happy to discuss, if there's something that you want to engage with us for, whether it's, I see there a probate or something else, we'd be happy to discuss with you what our fees are in that particular situation. Then I see one more here. If a contractor agreement is drafted, can it then be changed? So the answer to that in the general sense is yes. However, if you are changing it, then you have to basically follow the same formalities that you followed when you originally drafted that agreement. So say, for example, I have an agreement, it was drafted by an attorney, it's in writing, everyone has signed it. Any changes, which are a lot of times called amendments to that agreement, should also generally be in writing and signed by both parties. So, of course, there's plenty of situations where people enter into a contractor agreement and, they need to change it. A lot of times a contractor agreement will even provide for a provision in there that it can be amended, basically with the consent of both parties and in writing. There's of course exceptions to every rule. So, that I don't want to say that that's going to apply in all circumstances, but in a lot of circumstances, as long as, there is a true agreement to make that change, make that amendment that's agreed to by both parties, then, frequently that can be changed. That's not true in every circumstance, but in a lot of just general agreements, that is true. So let me see. I don't know if I see any other questions. Yvonne, am I missing anything?
I think you've covered what we've had so far. If there are any additional questions, feel free to enter it into the chat or QA or unmute yourself and ask your question aloud. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Nico and Sarah, for that presentation. That was a wealth of great information. I will stay on the Zoom call if there's anybody that wants to, chat after the session is over. There is just some great information that was displayed here today. The business tax is always here to assist you with your business tax registration questions. There was a couple of questions about specific businesses that I'll be more than happy to answer. We have great representation here from from Applebaum Law. They are available and I will have their information available and be sending out everyone who participated in this workshop today their contact information. They are a local business and we do encourage to utilize our local businesses here in the city. Again, there's future workshops outlining the different topics that we have scheduled that's on the City of Port St. Lucie's website. But I do want to thank you all for attending this workshop today. My contact information has been placed in the chat for you as well as our email. So if you have any further questions, we're here and available to answer any questions that you may have. But I do want to thank you again for your time in attending the City of Port St. Lucie's Business Tax Workshop.
Thank you for having us, Yvonne. It was a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you, Courtney. Thank you, Youssef. Thank you, Katia, Shirley. Again, I'll be here and I will stay on if anybody, wants to have anything that they want to discuss. Thank you, Ms. Shirley. Thank you, Ms. Talia.
I just have a quick question, please, Miss
Yes.
Eva.
Yes.
Um, for the zoning application, is there any fee for like the daycare? It's the home daycare is just like, how can I say that? I just don't want, to babysit at home without, make it like, I can say formal or something. I don't want parent to think that, okay, I'm just gonna bring my children, you just babysit them.
Right.
I don't want it like that. I see, like, I want to do something like professional because I have a degree in early childhood and then I just have a degree in business. So I'm like, okay, I want to do something professional, started at home before renting, a place to do so. But for this, I'm going to do at home. Is there any fees to submit the application to zoning or no?
There is no fees to review. However, there is a $79 cost for the inspection, and that's conducted through the building department, and you schedule that inspection. But that inspection will not be done until you have met all the requirements and received the licensure from Department of Children and Families.
Okay. Okay. For fire marshal, it is a class do I have to do, or I have to go to them for them to come to my house to do an inspection as well?
So as a part of the registration process with Department of Children and Families, I do
Mhm.
believe that you have to have a sign off from the fire marshal's office. I'm not exactly sure what their process is. I believe you reach out to them
Mhm.
and then advise them of what you're going to be conducting at your home. And then they will schedule the inspection of your premise. I
Okay.
don't know if there's a cost or anything of that associated with their inspection.
Okay. Right now I'm still waiting on DCF, but I can go ahead and go to Sunbees to create the business name, or I have to wait until everything it's done and then and go ahead to Sunbees and create a business name.
No, you can go ahead and create the name with Sunbiz because that's the name that you'll need to register or put on your application with Department of Children and Families. So you can go ahead and register that business entity.
Okay, so my thing is, I thought when I go ahead and create the business name, I have to pay taxes on that. So
No,
I'm
just
like,
the registry.
okay, all right. Thank you very much.
No, thank you. And thank you, Miss Edna. You said that you have a question or you have to help. You'd like to have help with tax and assistance. Are you still, I'm not exactly sure what information that you're trying to obtain. Hi, good morning.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
My problem is for the tax revenue. So because I called them and I like not closing, so I put it in hold because they charging me to pay tax. I have a lot of inventory.
Yes.
So even for what now, we don't sell. I don't sell anything right now.
Okay.
So I know I buy stuff, but I don't sell.
Okay.
So the money they charge me, I don't have it to pay them.
Okay.
So I want someone to help me and understand the tax for when you have business or you paying tax because I don't know how to fill it by myself. I have to get someone to help me. They charge me a lot of money for that.
Right. So
Yeah.
you can do a couple of things. You can contact Department of Revenue yourself, which is a free service for them to offer you guidance on reporting the taxes or if there is no inventory. We also have what we call an organization called SCORE, which these are retired individuals that can help you through that process. There is no fee also associated with their service to provide you with free consultation regarding a business plan, reporting taxes, things of that nature. Or you can go the route where you can actually, go to a tax accountant and they can kind of guide you through that process. So there's a couple of options there available to you. If you want to provide me with your email address, I can send you the information for Department
Yeah,
of
let me
Revenue
text you. Let me text you my email
and
address right
before.
now. Mhm.
Okay. And then I could send you a list of some of the tax accountants that are located here within the city of Port St. Lucie.
Okay.
And while you're doing that, I'm going to respond to Stephen. We are just rolling out the home-based business showcase information. It's actually going to be sent email. If it's not live today, it will be live tomorrow, where you can go ahead and register. Just keep in mind that you have to be a business within the city of Port St. Lucie.
Yeah, I'm in
and
Port
have
St.
an
Lucie.
active business tax receipt.
Yes. Also, I have to come to you and then to change my address because I moved. So I have to change my address.
Okay, and you're still in the city of Port St. Lucie?
Yes, I still in Port St. Lucie.
Okay, great. So that home-based showcase will also be a great networking event for you as well. There will be other vendors there, and as well it's open to the public. So I encourage any business to participate so that they get their name out there. And of course, we chose the date in October because it's prior to the holidays. So this is a way to generate income for the holidays as well.
Okay, that's good.
So I did receive your email and I will follow up with you on that information. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Yvonne.
You're
Have a
very
wonderful
welcome.
day.
Thank you for attending the workshop.
Okay, yeah. Bye-bye.
Take care.
Miss Yvonne, I have one more question, please.
Yes, ma'am.
For the city and the county tax receipt, I have to apply for that after everything. After I apply for everything, and then they do the city come to the house to do so, or I can go ahead and apply now, because I remember at the beginning you said it started in April, something like that.
Yeah, we start prorating the business tax fee April 1st. So for a home daycare, your startup cost to the city is $35.55. However, you cannot apply for the business tax receipt because you're regulated by Department of Children and Families. So you would have to actually have that license in place first prior to making application with our office. And then once you've made that application with our office, we then send you over to the county to apply for their business tax receipt, because they will not issue you the business tax receipt until you have obtained the tax receipt from our office.
Okay, so the business tax receipt is different to the IRS tax, or what?
It is. The business tax receipt is a tax to the local municipality. The other one is for federal taxes.
Okay, so it's like I am paying two different taxes.
That is correct.
Okay. And this tax, it's like every month, or?
The local business tax receipt is an annual tax. So the business tax year is October 1st to September 30th of each year. So if you came in and applied, say today, you would be paying a prorated amount from now up until September 30th. And then you would have to renew by September 30th for the physical annual year.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much.
No, thank you. Great question. Ms. Talia, I do see that you have a question for me. I will email you, or if you'd like, I'll be happy to speak with you regarding the questions that you have regarding accounting for taxes for businesses. I understand. You can call my office and I'll be happy to talk to you, or if you want me just to send you an email, that would be fine. And that was from Ms. Talia. So again, just when you're thinking about starting your business, do your research. That's a lot of misconceptions about starting a business, and we just want to ensure that you're getting all of the right information in which to conduct your business. So we always ask that you just check with our office first prior to engaging in business. What's required, what's not required, or if there's anything else that you need to do in order to establish your business. A business plan is one of the most beneficial things that you can do for your business, because that outlines the dynamics of your business. So you want to ensure that you have a good business plan in place, not just for loan lending purposes or making application to a bank or a financial institution, but just kind of a footprint for your business. Are there any additional questions? I see there's a couple of, let's see. The home-based business showcase, but there wasn't a question. Oh, okay, I had a question regarding registering for the event. So again, the event should be going live, if not late today, but tomorrow. You can always check back on our website. There will be a press release as well as email correspondence sent out telling you where you can register on our website for the event. It is on a first come, first served basis. All right, so if there's no additional questions, I just want to again thank you for your time. Thank you for your questions. My office hours are 8 a.m. to 4:30, Monday through Friday. Feel free to either give me a call, send me an email, or visit our office. I will be more than happy to answer any questions that you have or provide any resource information that you need in order for your business to be a successful one. Again, if you have not made application for your business and you will be starting your business soon, make sure that you mention that you attended this workshop so that you can receive the 50% off of the business tax application fee. Thanks everyone again for attending. You have a wonderful day. Take care now. Bye-bye.